Chapter 71. Do you also want to dance? You are listening at novelfull.audio. It's Qin Feng. When the audience outside the venue saw Qin Feng coming out, they immediately cheered fiercely. He completely forgot how he became the shame of the Inuit dynasty and confiscated nearly 300 people's tools for committing crimes. Qin Feng. When Feng Chang saw Qin Feng, his eyes immediately turned red. Ever since he met this bitch, Qin Lao, he has been stabbed in the back by him in various ways, and he is unable to display his true ability at all. Even in the end, he was ruined and lost his most beloved woman. Now it has nothing to do with interests, he only has one thought, to kill this bitch Qin Lao. Bang. Feng Chang stomped hard on the ground with both feet, turning into a black shadow and rushing towards Qin Feng. So fast, Qin Feng decisively opened a double pupil, slowed down Feng Chang's speed, and broke down his next movements. It's a pity that it's too late to dodge, so I can only cross my hands in front of my chest in a defensive posture. Bang. Feng Chang kicked Qin Feng's arms, and the huge impact did not make Qin Feng take a step back. What? Feng Chang's face was full of disbelief, and he seriously suspected that he was dreaming. At this time, he has already broken through to the 7th level of Lingwu, and he has the blessing of blackening, and he has absorbed the Dragon Ball of Jiaolong. How could he not be as powerful as Qin Feng, who just broke through the 1st level of Lingwu? This is definitely the heaven's domineering body. That the Emperor of the Six Paths stared at Qin Feng closely. Only Zhang Tianba had such a powerful physical body. After being blackened, it really became stronger. Qin Feng could clearly feel that Feng Chang had become stronger, so he took the opportunity to grab his feet with his backhand, just like the Hulk smashing Loki, and fell to the ground with a burst of wild output. Bang! The ground was smashed into a big hole, and Feng Chang lay peacefully in it. What disciple of the Emperor, you are so weak. After Qin Feng finished smashing, he still didn't forget to sneer, and then jumped up, ready to give Feng Chang justice from heaven. Bang! Qin Feng fell from the sky like a missile. Feng Chang dodged in time, and began to use his fast expertise to deal with Qin Feng. How is this possible? Feng Chang became more and more confused, with various question marks in his mind. This is really the 1st level of Lingwu. Didn't he go to slay the dragon yesterday? Why wasn't he injured after slaying the dragon? Not only Feng Chang's head was full of question marks, but also the audience outside the venue were also full of question marks. Yesterday they saw Qin Feng being slapped by the dragon with their own eyes. Seeing that people are going to die, why did they come back to life with full blood after one night? What is the accompanying skill that Qin Feng realized in his mother's womb? The Emperor of the Six Paths still stared at Qin Feng closely, suspecting that the reason why he recovered so quickly was because of the unusual skills he practiced. It can't go on like this. Qin Feng didn't have the time to help them answer their questions. Facing Feng Chang, who had an advantage in speed, he could only choose to defend passively. You can only upgrade Phantom Happy. Qin Feng glanced at the remaining 497 million villain points, and called the system to exchange for the 4th volume of Phantom Happy. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for spending 40 villain points and successfully redeeming the 4th volume of Phantom Happy. A figure immediately appeared in front of Qin Feng's eyes, his body flickering in constantly changing directions, making it hard to figure out. Swish. Feng Chang once again appeared in front of Qin Feng at an extremely fast speed. The terrible strong wind made Qin Feng's clothes tremble violently, but there was no panic on his face. His lips were slightly pursed, and 7 or 8 figures of Qin Feng suddenly appeared around him, making it impossible to tell which one was real for a while. Transfiguration. The audience outside the venue immediately exclaimed, calling Qin Feng a pervert in their hearts. After possessing so many attack methods, there is still time to study body skills, and even reach the realm of shape-shifting and shadow-changing. Not good. Feng Chang couldn't help raising his brows, and saw that Qin Feng was already in the posture of drawing his sword. After seeing Qin Feng's sword-drawing technique, he did not dare to underestimate this sword-drawing technique at all, and he had to use all his strength to resist it. Hum. The spiritual power in Feng Chang's body overflowed crazily, turning into a black evil golem, kicking his feet hard, and rushing towards Qin Feng madly with overwhelming momentum. If it was before the blackening, he would use the golden bell shield to defend, but after the blackening, he knew that the best defense was to attack. Even if he knew he would be injured and lose his life, he couldn't stop the madness in his heart. Head to head, let's see who is tougher. Qin Feng's eyes were as bright as electricity, and his momentum was overwhelming. With a suffocating sense of oppression, the terrifying wind made his long hair dance wildly, and an incomparably powerful aura emanated from his body, and his white right hand also violently pulled out the sky sword, slash the sky and draw the sword. So strong. The audience outside the venue all held their breath and stared at the two of them intently. Clang. The sky sword flashed out of its sheath like a swimming dragon, and the crisp sound of the sword pierced through the sky and the earth. A flash of bright and dazzling sword light was extremely swift and fierce, dragging a terrifying torrent of sword energy, containing a sense of murderous intent and coldness, passing by like a breeze, and seemed to push away thousands of miles of floating clouds, simply unstoppable and irresistible. Boom. The sword light and the demon collided heavily, and the powerful waves turned into a storm and swept across the forest. The deafening sound of breaking wind made the scalp numb. Nima, is this really a battle at the spiritual martial realm? Qianjun hid in Wanma's arms and shivered like a little daughter-in-law. Even a cultivator like them couldn't deal this kind of damage. The young master is truly terrifying. Kazuma couldn't help swallowing. Who would have thought that Qin Feng would grow to this level in just 7 years, even without relying on the Qin family? But after thinking about it, I was so excited that I didn't want to. Being able to be sent to follow Qin Feng means that he knows part of the Qin family's top secret plan. The faster the Qin Feng brothers grow up, the closer their Qin family is to dominating Huanggu. Between the lightning and the flint, the figures of the two passed by each other. Qin Feng's sword has returned to the scabbard, and there are a few more scars on his body. On the other hand, Feng Chang's black demon is full of cracks, but he doesn't intend to break it. Obviously, he has forcibly accepted the technique of cutting the sky and drawing the sword. Wonderful, wonderful, that the audience outside the venue was immediately excited, and their blood boiled even more when they watched, as expected of the final duel between two peerless geniuses. Qin Feng's sword-slashing technique, which could easily kill monks in the Dao realm, was blocked again, and it was blocked by Feng Chang, who had cultivated at the 7th level of Lingwu. At the same time, there was a trace of regret in their hearts. If Feng Chang had comprehended the true meaning of Buddha and demon yesterday, it would be Qin Feng's turn to be suppressed by the blow just now. Use out your sword-drawing skills, now you are dead. The excitement on Feng Chang's face could no longer be concealed, knowing that Qin Feng could only draw a sword with one move. Not the slightest hesitation, nor the slightest hesitation. Feng Chang quickly turned around and rushed towards Qin Feng, resolutely denying him the chance to use the supreme bone and double pupil supernatural powers, and ordered those enslaved candidates to launch a group attack on Qin Feng. If you don't talk about martial arts, it's not exclusive to you, Qin Feng. You dare. Qianjun and Wanma rushed forward to protect the lord with their tired bodies. Kill. The sound of killing shook the sky, and the enslaved candidates rushed towards Qin Feng defying life and death. It looks like you want to dance too. Qin Feng turned around unhurriedly, the corners of his clothes began to move without wind, and his whole body became a sharp sword out of its sheath, with no sharpness, and the swords around him made a buzzing sound, as if the swords in the world the sword is crowning him. Chapter 72 I will definitely come back. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What? Feng Chang's pupils shrank suddenly, and an unprecedented sense of crisis came to his heart. Not daring to hesitate in the slightest, he kicked his legs on the ground, and retreated quickly. For safety, he used the strongest defense golden bell cover of Buddhism. Boom. Qin Feng's body vibrated in the void, and the sound of sword chant was endless, accompanied by a wave of sword energy as vast as the sea sweeping across the forest. The sharp sound of breaking the wind also rang out overwhelmingly. Countless sword energy converged into a rushing river, as if it could swallow everything in the world. Thousands of swords trembled, and the swords chanted endlessly. The water of the great river came up from the sky. What, a great river of sword energy! Feng Chang's pupils were wide open, and the crazy cry in his heart was impossible. he is the traveler of Red Star. He is the protagonist of Huanggu. How could it be possible to be beaten by Qin Feng? My God! The faces of the audience outside the arena were full of shock, and they were shocked by the grand scene of the day sword art before them. Are you kidding me? He had already fought to such an extent that even the big dragon was slaughtered by him, yet he still kept his whole cards. It is absolutely impossible for him to be only 15 years old, and it is absolutely impossible for him to be at the first level of Lingwu. The emperors of the Six Paths and other bigwigs had very calm expressions on their faces. They were so at a loss for words that they didn't know what to say, so they could only look at Luna, hoping she could give a reasonable explanation. It can be seen from Qin Feng's day sword art that he has definitely reached the state of Dzogchen, that is to say, he comprehended this set of sword art in front of Day. As Qin Feng's guardian in the Yinhua dynasty, it is impossible for the moon god not to know about the day sword art, Luna said weakly. I said that there is only a small waterfall in the back mountain of my Luna palace, will you believe me? Letter. I believe you, sir. As Qin Feng's guardian in the Yinhua dynasty, during the 7 years of getting along with him, she didn't know what skills he knew, and where she had spent her mind in the past 7 years. Do you want to be Qin Feng's guardian, or be the female guardian? If Luna were to be in charge of Qin Feng's studies again, they would all feel sorry for their conscience, and they would be ruining this perfect piece of rough jade. The bosses from all parties gave Luna a look and asked her to hand over Qin Feng consciously. At this time, since Feng Chang's protagonist's halo allowed him to hide in time, and he turned on the defensive mode, he was not directly killed. But those candidates who were enslaved by Feng Chang were not so lucky, they were directly swallowed by the surging sword energy of the river. After the day sword art, all around were broken arms and stumps. Whoosh! Feng Chang panted heavily with horror on his face, and actually had a psychological shadow on Qin Feng, so horrible. Not only play him like a ball, but also play him like a ball. In front of him, it seemed that there was no resistance at all, just like Monkey King in the hands of Tathagata Buddha, who seemed so insignificant that he could be played to death with a flip of his hand. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for leaving a psychological shadow in the heart of the chosen one and gaining 10 villain points. Only 10 million. Qin Feng was very dissatisfied with this, and started to attack actively in a flash. Stop him! Feng Chang yelled in horror while quickly backing away. Kill! Many of the enslaved candidates hadn't been killed yet, so they got up again and rushed towards Qin Feng. Noisy. Qin Feng's double pupils began to flash a purple light, and huge double pupils appeared again in the sky, the Yin and Yang Tu Chi divine light. This is double pupil. Looking at the huge eyes all over the sky, Feng Chang felt his scalp tingling and his body trembling unconsciously. The fear of Qin Feng in his heart was raised to another level. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for deepening the psychological shadow in the heart of the chosen one and gaining 10 villain points. Call out, call out, call out. A pair of double pupils in the sky shot out rays of light, cleaning the people on the ground like lasers. Is this the secret of his dragon slaying? Standing outside the cave, Yulan saw all the confrontation just now. The grandeur of the day sword art made people startled by his talent, and the horror of double pupils made people fear him. Mother bless you. Qian Jun and Wanma hugged each other tremblingly, praying in their hearts that Qin Feng must aim well, and he must not accidentally injure his teammates. Qin Feng, you forced me to do this. Even if I sell my soul to the devil, I will kill you today. Feng Chang was forced to the point of nowhere to retreat. He raised his head and roared with a ferocious face, and a shocking demonic energy began to surge around him, as if something terrible was about to awaken. Oh my God, it's over fire. Qin Feng finally remembered that the other party was the chosen one, so he quickly took away the double pupil supernatural power, and shouted, is there anyone in charge? I will report Feng Chang and find someone to fight for him. Boom! The audience outside the venue collectively fell to the ground, and they had a new understanding of Qin Feng's shamelessness. It's normal for him to be unreasonable in all kinds of ways. If he gets angry, he just finds someone to fight on his behalf. Can he be a little more embarrassing? Boom! Earth-shattering roars sounded crazily on the battlefield of life and death, and the terrifying coercion rolled over like a tide, covering the entire battlefield of life and death in an instant. A burly figure also appeared in front of Qin Feng and the others, looking at Feng Chang with a dignified look. If it wasn't for Qin Feng's reminder just now, he might not have noticed through the light curtain. Emperor of the Six Paths. The audience outside the venue immediately exclaimed, and recognized this person as the Emperor of the Six Paths at a glance. It's just why the Emperor of the Six Paths appeared on the battlefield of life and death. Is it really like Qin Feng said that Feng Chang hired someone to fight for him? The boy in the Inua dynasty actually reached such a state. Feng Chang's voice suddenly became hoarse, and an ancient aura surged around him. The Emperor of the Six Paths said indifferently, I didn't expect that the senior is still alive, but this is a battle between the juniors. It seems inappropriate for the senior to intervene in this way. What if the old man insists on meddling? Feng Chang narrowed his eyes slightly. That's embarrassing. That the Emperor of the Six Paths was not a person who talked about martial arts, and the terrifying coercion instantly pressed on Feng Chang. Quack quack, just because you can't kill the old man. Feng Chang gave a hoarse and sinister smile, turned into a black shadow, tore through the void and left. I want to go now, it's too late. That the Emperor of the Six Paths exploded with terrifying energy, tearing open the void and chasing after him. No way. The audience outside the stadium all opened their mouths in shock, and couldn't believe their eyes. The Emperor of the Six Paths calls the cloud of black air senior, and the mass of black air refers to the boy of the Six Paths Emperor, Nima. Feng Chang really hired someone to fight for him. Rumble. The sky of the entire battlefield of life and death dimmed, as if the end of the world. There was a small vibration at first, followed by a violent shaking, and after a few shakings, it gradually returned to calm, and the Emperor of the Six Paths also walked out of the void with a tired face. Immediately afterwards, two angry voices sounded. Damn Lu Dao, you dare to cut off the old man's 10,000 years of Taoism, you will wait for the old man. Damn Qin Feng, I will definitely come back. Just let him run away. Qin Feng once again experienced the unreasonableness of the chosen son, and wondered if he was buying more powerful cheats behind his back. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for weakening the chance of the chosen one and getting a chance to draw a lottery. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for seriously injuring the chosen one and gaining 30 villain points. Qin Feng silently took out a small notebook and wrote on it that in a certain year and a certain month, the Emperor of the Six Paths weakened my opponent, making it impossible for me to hone myself better, and I need to compensate 1,000 million top-grade spirit stones. The Emperor of the Six Paths cast a glance and disappeared in place. He really didn't want to talk to this shameless thing. Chapter 73 Spy on Heaven. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Feng Chang left, the enslaved examinee regained his sanity. After seeing the broken limbs around him, he immediately remembered what happened when he was dominated by Feng Chang. It's really God's blessing, that everyone was frightened into a cold sweat, and they rejoiced in their hearts that they were lucky. During the period of being enslaved by Feng Chang with the Buddha's magic voice, he successfully escaped the human bomb, also successfully escaped Qin Feng's Day Sword Art, and finally successfully escaped Qin Feng's double pupil Yin and Yang divine light. But what they never expected was that after avoiding Feng Chang and Qin Feng, they ended up falling into the hands of a rabbit. Come here and line up. Xiao Bai walked over with steps that his relatives did not recognize, and said fiercely, My rabbit is handsome, unparalleled in the world, peerless, talented, and the embodiment of justice and wisdom. Everyone loves flowers and flowers bloom. Pear blossoms crushing Hai Tang, Yin Qin Feng, who is known as the most handsome man in the ancient times, saved your lives. Men consciously line up to pay protection fees, women must have the consciousness to agree with each other, and beautiful and married young ladies are given priority. Rabbit. Everyone looked at Xiao Bai. It was rumored that Qin Feng raised a shameless rabbit in the battlefield of life and death, but obviously no one took it seriously for his extraordinary 9-level cultivation. Boom. Qianjun cooperated to stand behind Xiao Bai and supported him, and Wanma cooperated to smash the giant hammer to the ground. Some people were dissatisfied and said, "You guys are too domineering to do this, right?" Bang! Xiao Bai stomped the other party under his feet, and said fiercely, "We do things like this. Guru." Everyone around swallowed their saliva, and the frightened little ones jumped wildly. They are different from those Qianjia level masters. Their goal is not to qualify for the last 1,000 places. They just want to keep warm and get out of the life and death knockout competition alive, so as to gain the opportunity to join other forces of the Inuit dynasty. A simple point of understanding is to go to a second-rate university. Now encountering this kind of rogue rabbit, it seems that he can only obediently pay the money. "I'll go, what a domineering rabbit," that the audience outside the arena were all stunned, and found that this was really a cute-faced animal-hearted rabbit. At this time, Qin Feng didn't have time to pay attention to what Xiao Bai was doing, and was staring blankly at the direction Feng Chang left. Feng Chang left just like that. The long-lost loneliness came to my heart again. He didn't know if he would wait another 7 years for the next heartbeat, correct? There is also a chosen daughter. Qin Feng seemed to have dripped essential oils on the crime tools, not to mention how energetic he was, but when he entered the cave, he found that Yulan had already run away. Nowadays, people really don't care about morality at all. According to the rules of the rivers and lakes, she should promise her with her body instead of running away. Next time she falls into his hands, he must give her a tattoo of Qin Feng's special use. Qin Feng still felt extremely angry in his heart, and he simply didn't pay attention to Confucian decent gentlemen. Confucius said, "If you hear the Tao in the morning, you can die in the evening." At this time Wai Yulan is making the final sprint for the life and death knockout. Even if he can't afford to offend that pervert Qin Feng, he can still get points from other aspects. "Why are you so fat?" Yulan Lu frowned slightly, and reached out to touch her lower back. Ever since she was detoxified by Qin Feng, she felt a slight tingling sensation in her lower back. It was probably caused by Qin Feng's lack of skill. After returning home, she must look in the mirror and make sure there are no scars left. In the palace of the Emperor of the Six Paths, the leaders of all parties have no intention of watching the life and death knockout match. Now that Qin Feng's terror has spread throughout the life and death battlefield, no one will open their eyes to trouble him, and the next battle will be boring. The Emperor of the Six Paths said, "This emperor has decided to make Qin Feng the third holy son of the Inuit dynasty." Agree. No one from all the bigwigs objected. Based on Qin Feng's talent to overwhelm the heroes, he is indeed qualified to be the son of the holy sun, and he can compete for the position of the emperor of the Inuit dynasty in the future. However, they are not interested in Qin Feng being a holy son now. They just want to take Qin Feng, a piece of jade in the rough, under their own sect. Qin Feng practiced swords, and this old man's swordsmanship is the only one in the entire Inuit dynasty. Is it okay to be more aggressive? Qin Feng's strongest method is the Buddhist golden dragon. The old man has research on Buddhism, so it should be taught by the old man. Fart, it's obviously a supreme bone. My ancestors had a supreme bone. This old man should teach me. Double pupils are invincible. My aunt's second aunt, third grandmother, fourth uncle's fifth aunt's sixth son's seventh concubine, counting up to generations, have had double pupils. Luna sat on the sidelines watching the play with relish, and from time to time he fanned the flames to make them fight. In fact, these people are vying to accept Qin Feng as an apprentice, not because they really want to teach him skills, nor do they have the ability to teach him skills, but because they see Qin Feng's talent and want to invest in Qin Feng, because now there are 3 holy sons including Qin Feng, and there is only one emperor. All major forces will choose to support the holy son in their hearts, so as to help him ascend to the throne and earn a contribution from the dragon. Fortunately, I have the foresight to invest in Qin Feng 7 years ago. Luna is quite satisfied with his investment, and will support Qin Feng silently behind his back in the future, helping him to become the next generation emperor of the Inuit dynasty. Enough. The Emperor of the Six Paths was most annoyed by this group of people fighting for power and profit, and said coldly, "As for Qin Feng's master, I already have a candidate in my mind, so there is no need for you to waste your efforts." Yes. Seeing that the Emperor of the Six Paths was angry, the leaders of all parties were so frightened that they didn't dare to take a breath. The Emperor of the Six Paths continued, now this emperor will send an envoy to the Qin family with great fanfare to help Qin Feng persuade him to make peace. Persuade peace. After thinking about it for a while, the big bosses from all sides called the emperor. Whether you are good or bad, the talent that Qin Feng showed now definitely shocked the Qin family. I am afraid that he has already regretted expelling Qin Feng from the Qin family. If the Qin family is brought over by the identity of Qin Feng's holy son, it means that Daxia will lose the entire eastern region. Even if the Qin family is still stubborn and refuses to forgive Qin Feng, if they go there with great fanfare, they can still provoke the relationship between the Daxia royal family and the Qin family, which will be of great benefit to their Yingyue dynasty. At this time, Qin Feng still doesn't know anything about these things. He is calling the system to prepare for the lottery draw. As a lottery fanatic, he would never keep a lottery chance overnight. Whoa! The familiar lottery turntable reappeared in front of my eyes. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for winning the lottery, a secret card. Secret card. With question marks all over Qin Feng's head, he quickly checked the relevant information. Secret card. After using it, you can spy on the secret once, and look for a fortune of heaven and earth from it. Note, fortunes of heaven and earth are not everywhere, and the secret card needs to be used with caution. Isn't this the treasure hunt map? Qin Feng couldn't help rolling his eyes, thinking about who to start with. Second brother. Too small to pose much of a threat to him at the moment. Lin San. The relationship between the two parties is not bad, not to the point of incompatibility. Yulan. The more she resisted, the more excited he became. It can only be you, Feng Chang. Thinking of the terrifying black energy in Feng Chang's body, Qin Feng decisively used this secret card. Boom. Qin Feng's expression began to be in a trance, and he felt like traveling through time and space. After a few seconds, Qin Feng woke up with a strange expression. Apart from seeing Feng Chang find a great fortune, he also discovered a little secret about him. His protagonist's fate is actually played by 6 emperors. Such a fate would be extremely miserable in a woman's body, and would become a plaything for men to fight for, but if it appeared in a man's body, as long as there was no human intervention, it would be a wealthy life, and would be favored by 6 emperors in a lifetime. To put it simply, there are 6 places, not limited to men and women, and if they grow up in the future, they will be able to change their lives against the sky and achieve the position of emperor. Good guy. Qin Feng called him a good guy in his heart. He always thought that Bai Ri was a victim who lived up to his name, but he didn't expect that he was a prostitute who made a fortune in silence. Chapter 74: A Great Fortune. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They're both open and cheated. Why is the gap so big? Qin Feng thought of his talent as a great emperor. It is scary enough to increase all attributes by 10 times, but he is so weak compared to Feng Chang in the future, isn't he? Also TM6. Is there still Wang Fa? Is there still law? Maybe this is life. Qin Feng sighed helplessly, knowing that it was useless to envy others. He had to live on his own. As a serious disciple of Confucianism, he would naturally keep his mouth shut for Feng Chang. He kept the little secret that he was played by the 6 emperors, but the great fortune of heaven and earth peeped from Feng Chang was not polite to accept. Use the secret card to successfully spy on it, and the Kunlun secret realm will open in 1 month. It is said that this is a secret place in the ancient times, which is opened every 1,000 years, and only practitioners under the age of 30 can enter. In addition to the rich treasures of heaven and earth, there are many inheritances of ancient strongmen, and he saw through the secret card just now that Feng Chang also entered the Kunlun secret realm opened a month later, and found the most treasure bred by heaven and earth, the spring of infinity. After washing, he will have the purest Tao heart in the world, which also allows him to become a Tao heart demon whose magic way only exists in theory. From then on, the demon body and Tao mind have overwhelmed all the arrogances of all parties in the Kunlun secret realm. My good fellow, I dare not write like this in novels. Qin Feng couldn't help complaining. I was stripped of my Buddha nature just now, and I met Tao Xi a month later. Nima, this is Qi Guogua who treats our villain as an experience bar. At this moment, Qin Feng couldn't bear it anymore. 1 month later, in the Kunlun secret realm, he was going to order the immortal spring, and Jesus couldn't keep it either. However, in order to successfully obtain the Wugou spring in the Kunlun's secret realm, it is obviously impossible with his current cultivation level of the first level of Lingwu. At that time, all Tianjiao under the age of 30 in Huanggu will go to the Kunlun secret realm to find their own opportunities, unlike participating in the life and death knockout competition in the Yingyue dynasty. Those Tianjiao are at least Yijian and Yulan's level of masters, even if he has the strength to slay a big dragon, he still can't do so many Tianjiao. At most, they can barely survive and cannot move freely inside. To say the least, you have to break through to the Taoist realm in order to move freely in the Kunlun secret realm. 1 month is a bit short. Qin Feng found that there was not enough time. Even if he practiced with all his strength without eating or drinking for 24 hours, he would break through 2 small levels at most in a month. It may even lead to instability of the foundation, which is really not worth the candle. The system suddenly opened the mouth and said, the host can exchange for the foundation pill of the Lingwu period. Only 1 pill can instantly strengthen the foundation, saving a lot of time to consolidate the cultivation base. Spiritual Martial Stage Foundation Pill, it can strengthen the foundation of the spiritual martial stage. There is no upper limit, no usage limit, and no side effects. Exchange price, 50 villain points. Sell me 50 pieces of Sanwa products, won't your conscience hurt? Qin Feng said in his heart that it was too dark, calculated based on the fact that a small level requires 1, he needs 9 to consolidate the foundation of the Lingwu stage, which means 450 million villain points. Now there are only 597 million villain points in his account, and he can barely buy 1. He still needs more than 390 million villain points. He has never accumulated so many villain points since he got the system. The system said lightly, the system is the system, there is no conscience. You are vicious. Qin Fengqi's teeth were itchy, and he was ready to exchange for 1. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for spending 50 villain points and successfully exchanging for a spirit martial stage foundation pill. In Qin Feng's hand, there was an extra black elixir, which also exuded a strong elixir fragrance. After swallowing it, he felt a warm air in his lower abdomen began to disperse. Just like the introduction, there is no upper limit of use, no limit of use, and no side effects. In just a few seconds, he felt that the spiritual power in his body was unobstructed, thick and restrained. This is the feeling of hanging up. Qin Feng was stunned on the spot, and he even called him a good guy in his heart. He spent 7 years frantically polishing his foundation in the transcendent realm, but the effect was the same as a small pill sold by the system. It seems that you can't wait at home in the future, you must learn to take the initiative to find the chosen one. Boom. A bell rang through the entire life and death battlefield, which represented the end of the 3-day life and death knockout competition. It is finally over. Qin Feng exhaled deeply, his body blurred and disappeared in place. When he reappeared, people had already appeared in a large square, surrounded by dense crowds of people, at least tens of thousands of people. Mother, my son is promising, and he came out alive. There are too few people who survived this year, just over 2. The mortality rate in previous years was 50%, but this year it has reached 80%. It's all about Feng Chang, a disciple of the Great Summer, so the emperor shouldn't have allowed him to participate. He is the Great Xia mission, do you have the nerve to refuse if you want to participate? I heard that Feng Chang can't afford it, so find someone to fight for him. Candidates who survived were overwhelmed with excitement, just like the candidates who finished the college entrance examination, they began to let themselves go in various ways. Qin Feng. Qin Feng suddenly heard the sound of teeth gnashing from behind, turned his head and saw Yijian, the young owner of the famous sword villa, his friend in the same company. Oh, brother Sword. Qin Feng seemed to have forgotten the grievances between the two, and warmly stepped forward to greet Yijian. Go away. Yijian did not hide the anger in his eyes at all, and he would never forget this bitch who ruined him. You're so boring. Qin Feng began to scold. Before, everyone participated in the life and death knockout match, and fighting was inevitable. Now that the knockout match is over, we don't know each other if we don't fight. Many friends have many paths. Holy shit. If you don't know each other, you have many friends and many paths. Everyone around was stunned. They really couldn't understand a creature like Qin Feng. Regarding the things he did in the life and death knockout competition, he was ashamed to make friends with them. Seeing that Yijian was still angry, Qin Feng thought for a while and said, "That's good, I'll tell you a big secret as compensation, but you must never tell anyone else." That big secret. Everyone around immediately regained their spirits, and hurriedly pricked up their ears to hear what the secret was. Qin Feng looked around and said in a low voice, "I have a method that can quickly achieve the position of emperor, that the seat of the great emperor." Everyone around, including Yijian, obviously stopped breathing. Qin Feng continued to lower his voice. "The method to achieve the position of emperor is only 4 words, and the future will last forever." "You're fucking kidding me." Yijian became angry on the spot. "Who played you?" Qin Feng pulled Yijian aside and squatted down, and continued to whisper, "Let me tell you, you must never tell other people. In fact, Feng Chang's fate is played by 6 emperors. As long as Feng Chang comes to Japan going against the sky and changing your fate to achieve the position of great emperor, there were originally 6 places, but now there are only 5 left." After speaking, Qin Feng raised his head and found a group of people around him. Chapter 75. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You fuck me. His face turned black with anger. He would actually believe this bitch's nonsense, that he also played with the 6 emperors, thanks to him being able to figure it out. "I'm fucking playing with you." Qin Feng called himself wronged, but what he said was the truth. Feng Chang was indeed played by 6 emperors. In the future, Feng Chang would really be able to change his life against the sky and become the great emperor. Now that he was given a chance with a sword, he was actually useless. Cut. That everyone around let out a sound of disgust and dispersed. Obviously they didn't believe Qin Feng's nonsense. "Hey, I'm telling the truth, I'm not lying." Qin Feng shouted quickly, but no one believed him. "How did Feng Chang offend our boss? After the life and death knockout round, we still don't let him go. We must let Feng Chang experience 5 more human tragedies." Qianjun and Wanma stood aside, silently mourning for Feng Chang for 3 minutes. What is the most important thing between people is trust. Qin Feng felt like crying, but he didn't expect that no one would believe the truth these days. Qin Feng. Not far away, Princess Nanfeng stared at Qin Feng with a serious expression on her face. If eyes could kill people, Qin Feng would have been torn to pieces by now. It was all because of this bitch that her trip to the Inuit dynasty became a joke. Not only did he not stir up conflicts between Qin Feng and the aristocratic family, he took the opportunity to weaken the family's strength, but was humiliated by him in various ways, and even lost his greatest reliance on Feng Chang. Now she can fully imagine how her brothers and sisters who once flattered her will make trouble when she returns to the great Xia dynasty. Quiet. A majestic voice resounded throughout the square, and the emperors of 6 paths and other bigwigs were seen floating in midair, making the originally noisy square instantly quiet. The emperor of the 6 paths said, "This emperor now announces that the top, in the scoreboard will enter Tianhong Academy to study." Snapped, snapped, snapped. Candidates who were not selected applauded and congratulated, and it was false to say that they were not envious. Tianhong Academy is the first academy of the Inuit dynasty. It not only collects millions of volumes of exercises, martial arts, supernatural powers and other cultivation methods, but also has powerful teachers and maddening benefits. The most important thing is that graduating from Tianhong Academy can directly become the top management of the Inuit dynasty, which can be said to be a step up to the sky. The Emperor of the 6 Paths continued, Qin Feng, number 1 in this year's standings, will be canonized as the 3rd holy son of the Inuit dynasty. He can open his own mansion, recruit his own subordinates, and bestow a top-grade lingfeng. What? The 3rd holy son? Everyone in the audience exclaimed, and the scene lost control in an instant. The life and death knockout competition is held every 10 years, but not every time you can have a holy son. Only those peerless geniuses who beat all the heroes are eligible. In particular, the establishment of a mansion and the recruitment of subordinates indicates that Qin Feng can legally form his own power and join the ranks of the high-level bosses of the Inuit dynasty. There is also the top-grade spiritual Peak, which is the dream of many practitioners. As long as Qin Feng agrees to open it to the outside world, countless practitioners will go to him. Now these all belong to Qin Feng, a boy who is only 15 years old. No, I'll go to the boss's room to kneel and lick tonight. The happiest person is Qian Jun. That kneeling at the beginning not only saved his life, but also gained a fortune, and even won glory. So amazing. Wan Ma looked at Qin Feng with admiration in his eyes. He knew that his young master was powerful, but thinking of being so powerful, without the help of the Qin family, he became the holy son of the Inuit dynasty by himself, and he must have paid unimaginable heartache and hardship behind it. Holy son. Ling Feng. Qin Feng was not very interested in this, and looked around to find Yulan's figure. Now he doesn't have a chosen son by his side, so he can only extend his claws to the chosen daughter, trying to squeeze out 400 million villain points from her before the Kunlun secret realm opens. Not far away, Yulan couldn't help shivering, feeling inexplicably being watched by something. Is it an illusion? Yulan looked around suspiciously, and found that Qin Feng not far away was looking at her with a smile, which also made her face inexplicably blush. Thinking of the beautiful scene with Qin Feng in the cave, she hurriedly pretended not to turn her head look away. At the same time, she also became curious about Qin Feng. Obviously it is the sun itself, why use the light to walk? Just when Qin Feng cast unsuspecting and kind eyes on Yulan, there were also many malicious eyes looking at him. Through the screen projected by the life and death knockout competition, the world not only saw the horror of the arrogant in the ancient times, but also knew that Qin Feng had a relic of Buddha in his hand, and treasures such as dragon beads obtained by slaughtering dragons. Facing a treasure of this level, no cultivator could resist the temptation, even though he knew that Qin Feng's combat power was abnormal and he was still the third holy son of the Inuit dynasty. There was never a shortage of desperate people in the world. Even if there was only a 10,000th possibility, he still wanted to take the risk, in case it is successful. Soon, the Emperor of the Six Paths finished his speech and left. The candidates who survived cheered, and finally they could completely let themselves go. Just when Qin Feng was going to talk to Yulan about life and ideals, there was a sudden noise, and when he turned his head, it was Princess Nan Feng and his party who were blocked. All the parents of the enslaved candidates asked Princess Nan Feng to hand over the murderer Feng Chang. They could tolerate their children dying in the life and death knockout competition, but they absolutely couldn't accept being enslaved by Feng Chang to be used as a human bomb, resulting in no bones left. This princess doesn't know where Feng Chang is. Princess Nan Feng answered very simply, not to mention that she really didn't know. Even if she knew, she wouldn't say it. It can be seen from Feng Chang's successful escape from the Emperor of the Six Paths that it has already explained many problems. Even if he is not as perverted as Qin Feng, he is also a rare peerless genius in the world. How could she hand over such a genius? Do not know. The crowd couldn't control themselves anymore, and they rushed forward one after another and wanted to do their best. Presumptuous. The emperor's disciples were furious, as the aristocrats of the great Xia family, whenever they were subjected to such brutishness, they started fighting with these people on the spot. Hey, there's a play to watch. Qin Feng likes to join in the fun the most, and ran over with Xiao Bai Pidian, and finally understood why Princess Nan Feng is not the heroine. If there is no future, how can you change your fate against the sky? At this time Wai Yulan didn't go to join in the fun. She took off her clothes when she got home, revealing her fair and tender skin, ready to take a comfortable bath. It's just that when she saw the tattoo of Qin Feng is here on her slender waist through the bronze mirror, her whole body suddenly became ill, and her shy and angry screams resounded throughout the palace where the Blue Devil was. Damn Qin Feng, I will never let you go. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully humiliating the chosen daughter and gaining 10 villain points. Qin Feng, who was watching a movie, heard the system prompt. What else could he say? He could only silently bless Yulan in his heart, wishing you more beautiful and generous in the future. Chapter 76. I want you to help me practice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hey hey. The wailing sounded continuously in the square, and each parent was knocked down to the ground. as Daxia's son of heaven disciple and the aristocratic family's pride, his fighting power is naturally stronger than these parents, not a little bit, and he will be knocked to the ground after 3 strikes, 5 divisions and 2, it's just that their behavior also angered other people in the square. This is the Inuit dynasty, and the emperor's disciples of Daxia beat people so arrogantly on their territory. Is there still Wang Fa? Is there still law? Fuck him. Someone yelled, and the battle escalated instantly. It's unreasonable, it's unreasonable. Nanfeng Princess Qi's chest heaved up and down, and she felt that she could hardly suppress the anger in her chest. It's okay to be humiliated by that bitch like Qin Feng, but now even these bitches dare to ignore her like this. It's really hard to pinch her as Princess Daxia. Princess beware. The old man of the protection mission hurried forward and protected Princess Nanfeng. Everyone stop. A loud voice exploded in the square, instantly suppressing the chaotic situation. Everyone turned their heads to look, only to see a group of people in black armor walking over. Each of them exuded extremely powerful aura fluctuations, not at the spiritual martial realm, nor at the Tao realm, but at the Tianzong realm. It's Qian. That the faces of the surrounding melon friends changed, and they gave way to this group of people one after another. Qian is responsible for the safety of the Inuit dynasty's imperial city, and the minimum cultivation base needs to start at the Tianzong realm. Their official positions may not be very high, but they represent the face of the emperors of the 6 paths. No one in the Inuit dynasty dare not give them face. Humph. Princess Nanfeng didn't give Qian any face at all. She snorted coldly and was ready to take people back to the diplomatic post. The leader of Qian raised his hand to block Princess Nanfeng's way, and said coldly, Princess Nanfeng, this is the Inuit dynasty, not your great Xia dynasty. These disciples of the Son of Heaven are here to hurt our citizens, so they need to come with us. What did you say? Let us go with you. The emperor's disciples couldn't help laughing out loud, thinking that there was something wrong with this guy's appointment. They are the emperor's disciples of Daxia, the arrogance of the family, and members of the mission. He dares to arrest them even as a little captain of the 1,000 cattle guards. Take them all. The leader of Qian was obviously not joking with them, and ordered everyone to rush towards the disciples of the Son of Heaven. It is true that they are disciples of the Son of Heaven in Daxia, but their cultivation bases are spiritual martial arts and Taoism. They are not the opponents of these Tianzong realm Qian at all, and they are all subdued within a minute. You dare. The disciples of the Son of Heaven were furious, clamoring for a complaint against the Emperor of the 6 Paths. But Qian ignored them at all, and directly escorted them all away, winning cheers from the audience. Too much bullying, too much bullying. Nanfeng Princess Qi's chest heaved violently, and she was about to go to the Emperor of the 6 Paths to ask for an explanation. The old man protecting the mission stopped him and said, Princess, I'm afraid it would be useless if you went. If the Emperor of the 6 Paths really wanted to take care of it, there wouldn't be these people besieging the mission, and there wouldn't be Qian who would take away the disciples of the Son of Heaven. Gone. You mean, it was the Emperor of the 6 Paths who instigated it behind the scenes? Princess Nanfeng calmed down quickly, and immediately figured out what was going on. If she encounters an enemy like Feng Chang, she will probably find a way to eradicate him. That is to say, it is not these people who want to know Feng Chang's whereabouts, but the Emperor of the 6 Paths who wants to know Feng Chang's whereabouts. The old man continued, My Lord Princess, Feng Chang's whereabouts are unknown now, and there is no point in staying in the Inuit dynasty for the mission, and there may be danger, so hurry back to Daxia. But Princess Nanfeng's face was troubled, and she felt that she couldn't just go back like this. She came to the Inuit dynasty with a mission this time, and now it's fine if she hasn't completed a single mission, and she lost Feng Chang. If he doesn't care about the kidnapped aristocratic family Tianjiao, he will definitely offend the major aristocratic families after returning. At that time, even if her father wanted to favor her, he might have to put her in the cold palace. Save people. The old man felt very headache. They were not familiar with the place of life in the Inuit dynasty, and they had no power or power. How could they get the Emperor of the 6 Paths to agree to let them go? Princess Nanfeng raised her eyebrows slightly, and saw a familiar figure. now that Qin Feng is the third holy son who was just canonized by the Inui dynasty, maybe he can make the Emperor of the Six Paths change his mind. Princess, don't do it. The old man hurriedly dissuaded, asking that bitch Qin Feng for help is undoubtedly seeking skin from a tiger. There is no other way now, I can only try. Princess Nan Feng has made up her mind and is going to find Qin Feng alone, at this time. After seeing the end of the show, Qin Feng took Xiao Bai and his two younger brothers to his own peak Spirit Peak. On the way, Qin Feng still did not forget to educate with earnestness and earnestness. Did you all see those disciples of the Son of Heaven just now? This is the end of not learning well. You must never learn from them in the future. If you want to learn from me and be a Confucianist. Do decent gentlemen understand? Well, my rabbit's goal is to be a decent Confucian rabbit. Xiao Bai repeatedly nodded his head, expressing that he remembered every word of Qin Feng. Confucius said, learning without thinking will lead to loss, thinking without learning will lead to peril. All it has been working hard to learn, Qin Feng's swordsmanship, and humble way. Decent gentlemen. The corners of Qian Jun and Wanma's eyes twitched slightly, and they couldn't help turning their heads to look in the direction of the square. Against Qin Feng being the holy son. Down with that bitch Qin Feng. Severely punish Qin Feng, return my balls. A protest march composed of 300 to 400 people stood on the square and shouted in unison. Although they saved their lives in the life-and-death knockout competition, they also lost their tools to commit crimes as men. From then on, they could only compete for posts in the palace. Not long time, Qin Feng and his party came to the top grade Lingfeng. The stone tablet said Green Bamboo Peak, and the whole Lingfeng was full of green vitality. Not only are there various kinds of spirit grasses growing, but the fish in the creek are jumping happily. After entering, they can feel the unusually strong spirit energy, which falls on the body like rain. Practicing here can save a lot of top-quality spirit stones. Green Bamboo Peak, not bad. Qin Feng nodded in satisfaction. Several flying up and down, came to a bamboo forest. There should be a magic circle around it that gathers spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy is a little stronger than before, and there is also a bamboo house with a small bridge and flowing water. My rabbit likes it here. Xiao Bai happily jumped off Qin Feng's shoulders and ran wildly on the emerald bamboo peak. All small animals on the green bamboo peak have to be dragged over and slapped twice to declare their sovereignty. Even the mice in the mouse hole and the fish in the stream are not spared. You should also find a place to use as a training ground. Qin Feng didn't mean to treat the two younger brothers badly, and asked them to find a place to live on the mountain by themselves. Yes. Qian Jun was excited, but Wanma was very calm. Not long time, Princess Nan Feng came to Cuizhu Peak. A bitch is not scary, what is scary is that you ask for a bitch. In order to go back to Daxia and have an account with the big families, she could only bite the bullet and enter the bamboo house to ask Qin Feng for help. Are you begging for help? Qin Feng curled his lips in disgust. He didn't even show a Bentley logo, so he was ashamed to ask him for help. In fact, he was a little surprised by Princess Nanfeng's arrival, but not too much. When he used the secret card to spy on the secret, he also saw the disciples of the Xiu'er being arrested, but he was not imprisoned permanently by the Emperor of the Six Paths as he imagined, and they were all released about half a month later. The reason is that Feng Chang didn't get up, but arrogantly killed people and set fires everywhere. Knowing Feng Chang's whereabouts, it would be meaningless to continue to imprison this group of disciples of the Xiu'er, so they were all released in the end. Now that Princess Nan Feng came to her door on her own initiative, if he didn't take the opportunity to beat her up, he would feel sorry for the golden signboard of his villain. What exactly do you want? Princess Nanfeng's tone softened. I want you to help me practice, Jie 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 Jie. Qin Feng couldn't help but let out the villain's exclusive laughter, and found that Princess Nan Feng was quite bold, and dared to come to his green bamboo peak without a follower. Do you really think that Qin Feng is a vegetarian? The sun was slowly setting, and the sky was getting darker. Princess Nanfeng's face was blushing, her hair was messy and she ran out of the bamboo house. Hey, Qin Feng, this princess has never finished with you. Princess Nan Feng spat out a mouthful of phlegm with a red face, and was forced to waste so much effort, but fortunately, this slut Qin Feng agreed, promising to release him within half a month at the most. In addition to asking for a deposit of a fixed price, the final payment of 500 million top-grade spirit stones is a real conscience price. Chapter 77 No more white moonlight, only black pearls. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for bullying by Yueguang in his mind while the chosen son is not at home, and getting 10 villain points. Qin Feng suddenly regained his spirits. He didn't expect that it would be okay if Lao Feng was not at home. From now on, there will be no more white moonlight, only black pearls. Hurry up and practice first, and then send warmth when you have time. Qin Feng has already eaten the foundation pill, and the first level of Lingwu has been consolidated. For the Kunlun secret realm in a month, he must hurry up and break through to the Dao realm. Immediately afterwards, Qin Feng sat cross-legged on the bamboo bed and practiced the good fortune art for 33 days. The spiritual power in his body began to surge like a river and lake, and his aura was gradually improving. At this time, Qianjun and Wanma have already found a place to practice, and opened up a cave on the stone wall not far from the bamboo forest. It is very close to Qin Feng's small bamboo house, and they can rush over to support it as soon as there is a little wind and grass. Hey, that's not Princess Nanfeng of Daxia, what is she doing in Qizhufeng? Wanma was taken aback for a moment, seeing Princess Nanfeng going down the mountain with a face full of shame and anger. Qianjun analyzed, the blushing is about to bleed, which proves that she has encountered something unspeakable, but there is a smear of anger on her face, which proves that this incident made her feel uncomfortable. Looking at the direction she left, she came out of the boss's small bamboo house. If she is upset, it means our boss is happy. Wanma has also heard about the grievances between Qin Feng and Princess Nanfeng, but what makes him full of questions is what did the boss do to make Princess Nanfeng unhappy? Qianjun continued to analyze. Percent of them fell in love with the boss, and became angry after being rejected after confessing to the boss. Ugh, Wanma couldn't help sighing. It's really wrong to see the young master for life, but not to see the young master for life. Daxia, the Qin family, Qin Hao was practicing in his room, and there was a phantom of an old man floating beside him. Boom. Qin Hao suddenly opened his eyes and yelled loudly. An extremely fierce aura erupted from his body, and everything that filled the room was blown away. Not bad. The old man looked at Qin Hao, who had finished training, and showed a very satisfied smile. After 7 years of continuous training, Qin Hao has broken through to the 7th level of the extraordinary, and his physical body is even comparable to ancient beasts. Extraordinary 7th level. Feeling the surging energy in his body, Qin Hao couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth and said, I heard people say that my brother is only at the 9th level transcendent, and I'm finally going to catch up with him. With my current strength, even if he has the supreme bone and double eyes, the power of a battle. Okay. The old man nodded in agreement, said that Qin Hao is the scariest genius he has ever seen. He broke through the extraordinary 7th level at the age of 12, and even used almost abnormal methods to polish his body, let alone a 12-year-old child. Even an ascetic monk who has practiced for many years may not be able to bear it. A full burst is enough to fight Qin Feng. Lin Exener, a 3-year contract. Qin Hao's eyes are filled with endless fighting spirit. He will prove his rise to the world in the 3-year contract. The battle of fate is his unyielding cry to fate. At this time, a rapid bell rang, indicating that the Qin family was on alert. What happened? Qin Hao quickly opened the door and rushed out. He saw a group of people slowly falling from the sky, and the flags they played were the flags of the Inui dynasty. By order of the Emperor of the Six Paths, I am here to congratulate the former head of the Qin family, Qin Tian. The leader clapped his hands with a smile, and a group of people carried 10 large boxes and placed them in front of Qin Tian. After opening, bejeweled. What a great handwriting, the Qin family around couldn't help but exclaimed, almost blinded by the titanium alloy dog's eyes. I saw that all the 10 large boxes were full of rare treasures, and taking out any one of them would make the cultivators go crazy. Congratulate. Qin Tian frowned and said, I'm not familiar with the Emperor of the Six Paths, why did he come to congratulate me? The other party said proudly, of course, congratulations to Patriarch Qin for giving birth to a good son. In the life-and-death knockout competition of my Yingyue dynasty, Qin Feng defeated hundreds of thousands of heroes with his own strength, and even killed him with his first level of Lingwu cultivation. The real dragon who entered the 5th level of Taoism was personally conferred the title of the 3rd holy son of my Yingyue dynasty by the Emperor of the 6 Paths. The disciples of the Qin family around took a breath, and a big shit came out of their hearts. They have long heard that Qin Feng is perverted, but they didn't expect him to be so perverted that he could kill a dragon at the 5th level of Dao at the 1st level of Lingwu. That's the dragon race, and its innate advantage is many times stronger than that of the human race. It has always been the dragons who leapfrog to challenge humans. When will it be the turn of the humans to leapfrog to challenge and kill the dragons? The 1st level of Lingwu kills the real dragon who has entered the 5th level of Dao. After Qin Hao heard it, his Dao heart was unstable for a while. He was still complacent just now, thinking that if he caught up with his brother, he would be able to fight with him. Who knew that he was so advanced in playing, and he ran to enter the Dao realm at the 1st level of Lingwu, and killed a real dragon who had entered the 5th level of Dao. This son's talent is truly unprecedented. The old man Shuiying was also shocked, and his heart could not be calm for a long time. He originally thought that Qin Hao was already a peerless evildoer, but he didn't expect that compared with his brother, he was like a helpless fool, not to mention that he has never seen a real dragon from the 1st level of Lingwu slaying the 5th level of Dao. Even if he looked at the hundreds of thousands of years of history in the ancient times, he would definitely not be able to find a second one. Grandfather, Qin Hao quickly stabilized his Dao heart, and prayed to the old man Shuiying not to treat himself as a human being, but to torture himself with more perverted methods. The old man Shuiying was extremely moved, and felt Qin Hao's determination. My big boy slayed the dragon. Qin Tian was so excited that he was about to die. After holding it in for 7 years, he really wanted to shout out, my son Qin Feng is worthy of a great emperor. But thinking of the family's hidden plan, he had to suppress his excitement and put on an extremely angry expression. Get out, I don't have that beast son. Qin Tian entered a berserk state in a second, kicking boxes of treasures over. Without waiting for the other party to pick up the treasure, he drove the entire group out of the Qin family. He also expressed angrily that the Qin family would never forgive that beast Qin Feng. Yingyue dynasty and others didn't care whether Qin Feng was a beast, he only cared about going back to pick up the treasures and bring them back. But Qin Tian didn't give him a chance at all, and the violent aura prevented them from approaching. If you don't leave, I will kill someone. Roll. Qin Tian's furious roar resounded through the heavens and the earth, and the terrifying aura made people breathless. Go, go. The other party saw that the situation was getting out of control, and he didn't care about any treasures, so he ran out of Qin's house in a hurry. Whatever you look at, get out of here. Qin Tian looked at the disciples of the Qin family around him, and let out a violent roar, scaring the group of disciples of the Qin family to scatter like birds and beasts. Although Qin Tian has not been the head of the family these years, but his cultivation is there, no one dares to find it uncomfortable. Is everyone gone? Seeing that no one was around, Qin Tian put the treasures into his small treasury. Chapter 78 The Legendary Xiu'er. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Green Bamboo Peak, small bamboo house. After a night of training, Qin Feng successfully broke through to the 2nd level of Lingwu. If it weren't for the fact that the villain's points were not enough to exchange for the foundation pill, he would definitely be able to continuously break through to the Dao realm in one breath. The chosen son is not only a wife, but also a treasure. Qin Feng couldn't help feeling a sigh, and touched his abdomen. Since he fused the Buddha's relic, some extremely pure energy has been released from it, except for a part that was absorbed by Dwei Tianlong to enhance the Buddha's light. The rest was absorbed by him for breakthrough. It's just that he has never been able to get the approval of the Buddha's relic, and let it release a super protective barrier like Feng Chang did. This is simply targeting me, the villain, in an undisguised way. Qin Feng was also very angry about this, but he couldn't do anything with the Buddha's relic. Don't lose it at all. By the way, there is still one dragon that has not been dealt with. Qin Feng got up and went outside the small bamboo house, waved his hand and took out the black dragon from the portable space. Although the great dragon is dead, the might of the dragon is still there. As soon as it appeared, the small animals in the whole Qian became uneasy. The birds in the forest flew around, and the small animals hid in the holes one after another. Xiao Bai, who had not returned at night, ran back from nowhere. So big, Xiao Bai couldn't help exclaiming, feeling small standing in front of the big dragon. Boss, Qianjun and Wanma also came out of the cave when they heard the movement, and looked at the dead dragon in shock. Although this dragon is only at the 5th level of Taoism, it is only about 100 meters long, but it is a real dragon. The most valuable among them is its dragon ball. Puff! Qin Feng scratched and pierced the dragon's head, and dug out a golden dragon ball, the size of a baby's fist, shining with bursts of golden light, and an extremely tyrannical dragon power emanated from it. What a powerful long way! Qin Feng's eyes flashed 24K light on the spot, and felt that Dwei Tianlong would become stronger after absorbing it. In addition to having the Buddha's light, he will also have the tyrannical dragon's power, and the suppression of the monster race will become even stronger. What about the rest? Looking at the huge dragon, Qin Feng didn't know what to do for a while. He knew that dragon skin and dragon bones could be used to forge divine armor, dragon blood could be used to strengthen the body and enchant, dragon tendons could also be used to make whips and other weapons, and that one could be used to make wine, but just knowing how to use it is useless if you don't know the skills. Seeing that the boss was confused, Qianjun hurried forward to flatter him and said, "Boss, Tianhong Academy is the #1 academy of the Yingyue dynasty. There are many powerful talents gathered in it, and it is easy to deal with a dragon." Tianhong Academy. Qin Feng showed a dazed expression, and actually forgot about Tianhong Academy. At this time an illusory and song-like voice of Yujia sounded. "Sister thought you were kidnapped when you didn't come back last night, so you came to the Green Bamboo Peak. Why, you have your own Green Bamboo Peak. I despise my sister's Moon God Palace. Meet the Moon God, Goddess." Qianjun and Wanma rushed to salute, only to see the Moon God slowly falling from the sky with the purple kite. "How can it be?" Qin Feng called out his grievances and said, "I have said it since I was a child, and I will repay Sister Luna's life-saving grace with my body. Now I move to live in Suizhou Peak because I am 3 years away from becoming an adult. When I become an adult afterwards, Sister Moon God will be able to marry me in 8 palanquins. How about Qian as a dowry?" Cuckoo. Luna was so teased that she giggled and felt that Qin Feng was more and more interesting. Ever since Qin Feng met her for the first time when he was a child, he has been arguing to marry her, and 7 years later, he still does not forget his original intention. It also proves that she is indeed attractive, and no woman would dislike her own charm. "Wow, I'm so mad." Ziyuan stomped her feet angrily. "I know that I miss her aunt all day long. Don't you know that she is very flirtatious? Isn't this old man too bold?" Qianjun and Wanma were too frightened to say anything, with an expression like "I didn't hear anything." Even though Moon God is one of the 4 great beauties in ancient times, there are countless rumors about her cruelty. Otherwise she would not be able to become the patron saint of the Yingyue dynasty just by being a woman. "Don't be poor with you little guy, pack up, I'll take you to meet someone." Moon God naturally hugged Xiao Bai in his arms, and when he saw that the little guy was not cooperating, he took out a spirit fruit to bribe her before letting her touch it. "Who are you seeing?" Qin Feng waved his hand and put the dragon away. Ziyuan said mysteriously, "The master chosen by the Emperor of the 6 Paths for you is the most knowledgeable person in the Yingyue dynasty. This person is not only proficient in piano, chess, calligraphy and painting, but also 100 schools of martial arts. Quite a profound attainment. Even the special physique has been deeply studied." Qianjun was on the side, couldn't help exclaiming, "Could it be Dishio, one of the 4 ancient talents?" "That's right, it's him." The Moon God looked a little dazed, as if recalling, since what happened 100 years ago, this guy has been completely useless, and now he spends his days drinking, and the Emperor of the 6 Paths just wants to see if Qin Feng can stimulate him to cheer up again. Useless? I'm going to stimulate him. Qin Feng felt confused and didn't know how to stimulate Xiu'er. Could it be possible to let him wear a women's attire to seduce him? Soon, Qin Feng knew the story about Xiu'er. It is said that 100 years ago, this senior Dishio became one of the 4 outstanding talents of the ancient times by virtue of his profound knowledge, handsome appearance and tyrannical strength. He can be regarded as the super-idol trainee of that era, and the prince charming in the hearts of all ancient girls. Later, he met his beloved woman, and the two gave birth to a boy together. I thought that life would go on carefree like this, but who knew that this woman was actually a great demon after transformation? In the ancient world, human beings and monsters have different paths, and they are irreconcilable, which is an insurmountable boundary. So he made up his mind to kill the child who was under the full moon, and the big monster in the form of a shape was even more sad, leaving a word that would make him pay the price, and ran away. It's just that his behavior did not win the support of the human race. On the contrary, he felt that he could even kill his own son. As a result, Dishio became a scumbag that everyone shouted for beating, and was gradually alienated by everyone. Since then, the person has been so decadent, spending all day drinking to relieve his sorrows, and he no longer has the talent he used to have before. Now the Emperor of the 6 Paths still wants to rescue him again, to see if Qin Feng's talent can stimulate his desire to accept disciples. Only an all-rounder like Dishio can teach Qin Feng such a pervert. Ah! Qin Feng was stunned on the spot after hearing this, and found that this Xiu'er was a little more than a ruthless person. Because of the transgression of the monster, he actually killed his own son with his own hands. Wouldn't he be a senior manga fan who likes cat-eared girls, rabbit-eared girls, and fox spirits? Chapter 79 continue to carry forward the spirit of Qin Lao 6. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Not long time, Qin Feng and others followed Luna to Tianhong Academy, saying that Xiu'er is now decadent here. On the surface, it looks no different from ordinary academies, but Qin Feng can faintly feel dozens of terrifying aura fluctuations. There are also students who meet on the road. The aura is also very scary, except for the fresh graduates who are in the Taoist realm. The lowest cultivation level is the Tianzong realm, and even met many Yuandan realm students above the Tianzong. As expected of the cradle of talents of the Inui dynasty, Qin Feng can clearly feel the pressure, and the second level of Lingwu seems out of place here. Spirit martial realm, that the students were also amazed at Qin Feng, who was in the Lingwu realm. Since the establishment of Tianhong Academy, there has never been a student of Lingwu realm, but after seeing that the person who came was Qin Feng, the third holy son, everyone was not too surprised. They have also seen Qin Feng's performance in the life and death knockout round, and they are indeed qualified to study at Tianhong Academy. The third holy son is here, and there is a good show to watch. The student smiled knowingly, waiting for the show to begin. You must know that Qin Feng is not the only holy son in Tianhong Academy. In the last life and death knockout round, 2 holy sons were produced consecutively. They are currently studying in Tianhong Academy. The fight has even reached the point of life and death, and the students are divided into 2 factions to support their own holy son. Now the arrival of the third holy son is bound to make the situation even more chaotic. Whether it is to win over or to suppress, it will not be peaceful coexistence anyway. From the day they became the holy sons of the Inui dynasty, it was destined that only one person could ascend to the throne of the Inui dynasty. Boss, shouldn't it be time for us to recruit troops? Wan Ma's eyes were filled with eagerness, eager to fight for the young master. Boss. Qian Jun looked at Qin Feng expectantly, waiting for Qin Feng to order to recruit troops. Now that Qin Feng owns a top-grade spiritual peak, as long as he speaks out that he wants to recruit people, there will definitely be countless powerful younger brothers who will come to seek refuge. It's not urgent. After Qin Feng thought for a while, he didn't intend to compete head-on with the other 2 holy sons. They have been operating in Tianhong Academy for many years. If they rashly confronted them head-on, they would be severely suppressed, and he would be the one who would suffer in the fight. He should continue to carry forward the spirit of Qin Lao Lu, low-key digging, high-profile burial. At this time, a cold voice of gnashing teeth sounded. Qin Feng. Hey, Yulan. Qin Feng's eyes lit up immediately, and he said in his heart that God loves me. Just after breaking through to the second level of Lingwu, Yulan took the initiative to send it to her door. Now that the villain's points are settled, she can continue to sprint to the third level of Lingwu tonight. When Yulan saw Qin Feng at this time, it could be said that the enemy was extremely jealous when they met, thinking of this slut coming here behind her back. It is difficult to control the prehistoric power in her body. How can she, a big girl with yellow flowers, marry in the future? Call. The sharp breaking wind roared, with a strong wind blowing the corner of Qin Feng's clothes. I saw Yulan coming with extremely fast lotus steps, her supple black hair swaying in the wind along the graceful curve, and there was an extremely cold air all over her body, and everything she passed was frozen. It's Yulan's mysterious body, that the students around screamed, and backed away again and again in fright. They have long heard that Tai Lan is a body of Xianin, but they have never seen her use it, and they did not expect to release such a terrifying cold air. Even the Tianzong realm may not be able to bear this cold air. This cold air is powerful. Instead of intending to dodge, Qin Feng rushed forward with bright eyes. He discovered that the frightening cold air carried by Yulan's mysterious body could actually stimulate the growth of his heavenly overlord body, making his physical body constantly stronger under the invasion of cold air. Fuck, what kind of monster is this Qin Feng? That the students around were not calm at all, as if seeing a ghost in broad daylight. When other people encountered such a terrifying cold, they avoided it, fearing that they would be frozen if they ran too slowly, but fortunately, he rushed forward on his own initiative, and his body showed no sign of being frozen. How come? Moon God was also very surprised, and remembered the words of the Emperor of the Six Paths. He said when Qin Feng participated in the life and death knockout competition that Qin Feng is likely to be the legendary heavenly overlord. It's just that Qin Feng's metamorphosis was far beyond everyone's expectations. Even though his cultivation base was not good for him, he still won the life and death knockout competition without showing his domineering physique. Now that Qin Feng ignored the cold air so much, she had to trust the judgment of the Emperor of the Six Paths. What kind of monster is this? Luna's eyes were full of shock, and it was really unbelievable that in the life and death knockout round, Qin Feng was not at his full strength, and he still had a whole card that he didn't use. Bang! The two sides collided heavily, and the terrifying cold air spread out along with the ice flowers. It doesn't mean that Lan has a reaction. Qin Feng directly imprinted on Lan's red lips, sucking the cold air in her body into his own body crazily. Whoa! Yulan's eyes widened and she whimpered. She didn't expect Qin Feng to kiss her. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for taking advantage of the chosen daughter and getting 10 villain points. Ah, I'm so mad. Ziyuan grabbed Xiaobai angrily, and began to knead desperately. She and Qin Feng grew up together, but he kissed two outsiders but never kissed himself. Whoa, how can you treat the rabbit like this? Xiaobai's round face was pinched to the point of deformity, and he took out a small notebook with great effort, and wrote on it that in a certain year and a certain month, my rabbit suffered pain that Qin Feng shouldn't have to bear at this age, and I need to compensate 20 carats. Fuck. The students around were not calm anymore, and they couldn't stand it in their hearts. It has long been heard that this third holy son has no lower limit, but he never expected that he has no lower limit, in broad daylight, and the world is clear, and he actually uses such a cheap move. Shameless. Yulan pushed Qin Feng away angrily, and wiped her red lips in disgust. Cool. Qin Feng couldn't help shivering, only feeling that his physical body was gradually getting stronger. You are shameless. Yulan's face flushed red from anger, and she killed Qin Feng again. It's just that she just took 2 steps when she saw Qin Feng raised his hand and grabbed the air, and there was also a pink apron embroidered with lotus in his hand. You. Yulan was so angry that she was completely speechless. She hurriedly stopped and pressed her chest. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for bullying the chosen daughter and getting 10 villain points. Damn it, absolutely, the surrounding students all exclaimed, calling out to the teacher in their hearts, I want to learn this trick. Okay, stop. Luna suddenly spoke, and turned his gaze to the side. I saw a beggar-like man walking not far away, drinking the wine in his hand while walking unsteadily, and the students around saw him retreating 3 feet as if they had encountered a plague god. He is Dixio, one of the 4 ancient talents. Qin Feng couldn't help looking at the other party, and vaguely sensed an extremely powerful aura fluctuation from the other party. Yo, Luna! Seeing someone blocking the way, Xiu'er held up the wine jar and invited Moon God to drink with him. Moon God ignored it directly, and said with a flat face, Xiu'er, Dijuan asked me to tell you a word. He found a good apprentice for you. I wonder if you are interested. Apprentice? Xiu'er asked drunkenly, what weapon did he use? Qin Feng replied honestly with a sincere face, if you go back to Senior Xiu'er, the junior uses a cheat. Chapter 80 Qin Feng abandoned. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Crooked Melon. Xiu'er was full of question marks. Although he has been decadent for hundreds of years, his mind is still not sluggish, but what kind of melon is this crooked melon? Senior Xiu'er, don't listen to his nonsense. Ziyuan gave Qin Feng a white look, and said politely, he used to practice swords, comprehended the third-level sword intent, the invincible sword heart, and created 2 god-level sword tactics by himself, and he has the ancient double pupil and the supreme bone. And created a super-powerful god-level Buddhist technique of his own, which successfully slaughtered the dragon in this life-and-death knockout competition. The flagon in Xiu'er's hand almost fell to the ground, and there was a hint of shock in his decadent expression. That's right. He was shocked by Qin Feng. I thought that I could send people away with just 2 tricks, but who would have thought that I would encounter such a pervert? It's not that he has never seen a genius. Anyone who is caught in Tianhong Academy is a genius, but he has never seen a perverted genius like Qin Feng. It can be said that it is unheard of and unseen, possessing special physiques such as ancient double pupils and supreme bones. It's fine to win at the starting line, and also comprehend the third-level sword intent and invincible sword heart, and even created the 3-door god-level kung fu by himself, leaving no way for others to survive at all. Qin Feng glanced around and found that everyone looked at him like a monster. As a professional 6th child, I feel a little uncomfortable being paid attention to like this. It also proved that his performance in the life-and-death knockout round was too eye-catching, and he was likely to become a thorn in the side of the other 2 holy sons, if they join forces to deal with him. Then how will he experience the happiness of the 6th child in the future? If you don't want to be targeted, you must learn to hide. Seeing Xiu'er's reaction, Moon God struck while the iron was hot. Dijuan said, Qin Feng's talent cannot be taught by ordinary people, and only you, the most knowledgeable person in the Inua dynasty, can teach it. I haven't even taught myself well, how can I be qualified to teach others? Xiu'er laughed at herself, continued to drink, continued to get drunk, muddled along, and lived every day. Ugh. Luna sighed helplessly in his heart. Unexpectedly, that incident hit Xiu'er so hard that even Qin Feng, a peerless talent like Qin Feng, refused to come to his door. Senior Xiu'er, wait a minute. Qin Feng suddenly said seriously, actually, I just want to learn from your failed life. What? Everyone in the audience was stunned, not understanding what Qin Feng meant. Qin Feng began to perform, and sighed, I realized the 33-day good fortune due when I was just born. No matter how serious the injury is, I can heal quickly. After comprehending sword intent and invincible sword heart, now at the age of 15, I have many methods such as ancient double pupil and supreme bone. Life is so smooth, I don't feel any pressure. Can you understand this kind of pain? I understand your uncle. Also life is too smooth, you can't feel a trace of pressure, you are obviously living too comfortably, so you came to Versailles. As long as they have any of the above abilities, they feel that their lives are about to take off. Now that Qin Feng has so many abilities gathered in one person, he still thinks this is too much. Everyone around had black lines on their heads, and they really wanted to go up and give Qin Feng a hard time. Xiu'er was also completely bewildered, standing in a mess in the wind, not knowing what to say. He actually despises the perfect life that others can't dream of. It's because he can't keep up with the pace of the times, or Qin Feng just pretended it for him. Pray for Senior Xiu'er to be fulfilled. Qin Feng didn't mind other people's eyes at all, and planned to hang out with Xiu'er first. When he is not so eye-catching, he will be the 6th child and dig a hole to bury the 2 holy sons. Up to you. Xiu'er didn't believe that Qin Feng would lie flat, waved his hands and drank the wine and left. Then I'll report to Senior tomorrow. After Qin Feng finished speaking, he took a look at the system points. He had already saved 497 million, which is still close to 50 to buy Genji pill. He only needs to bully Yulan again. When Qin Feng turned his gaze to Yulan, he revealed the same smile that the Hulk looked at the widow's sister. What does he want to do? Yulan was inexplicably flustered by Qin Feng's laughter. Thinking of the scene of being bullied by him, tears rolled in her eyes. As the daughter of the Blue Devil, she has never been bullied since she was a child, and even kissed by Qin Feng in front of so many people. Who would dare to marry her in the future? Wow wow. Thinking of this, Yulan couldn't help crying anymore, covered her face and ran away without looking back. Hey, don't go, can't I be lighter? Qin Feng will be able to buy the root pill soon, how can he let Yulan run away like this? Ding dong, congratulations to the host for making the chosen daughter cry and gaining 10 villain points. This TM can also. Qin Feng immediately showed a surprised expression, and found another way to make a fortune. He's still laughing, how shameless. The female students around were full of anger, and they didn't expect Qin Feng to be this kind of person. Now there's a play to watch. Luna immediately came alive. For women, all women who are prettier than themselves are enemies, so she and the Blue Devil have always been at odds with each other as the four beauties of the ancient times. Now Qin Feng is going to kiss Lan Mo's daughter in public. I think Lan Mo must have a wonderful expression when he finds out. It's a pity that the Blue Devil is retreating recently. Luna felt a pang of regret in his heart, and decided to visit the Blue Devil as soon as he was out of customs. Ah, I'm so mad. Furious, Ziyuan grabbed Xiao Bai again, and began to knead desperately. Whoa, I told you not to treat Bunny like this. Xiao Bai's round face was pinched to deform again, and he took out a small notebook with great effort, and wrote on it that in a certain year and a certain month, my rabbit needed to compensate 30 carats because of Qin Feng's unbearable pressure at this age. Not far away, 2 figures are watching Qin Feng, seeing all the scene just now. What do you think about this? If he really wants to lie down, I will naturally raise my hands to agree, but will he? No, if he is willing to lie flat, how can he dig out his brother's supreme bone? He is very smart, knowing that he will be targeted by you and me, he deliberately ran to lie down. It's just that this scene is so blunt that no one would believe it. The 2 figures smiled knowingly, and then disappeared in place. The contest of the 3 holy sons, is this the beginning? Moon God turned his head to look at the place where the 2 disappeared, and knew that they were the other 2 holy sons of the Inuit dynasty. They are rare talents in the world, even more terrifying than Qin Feng in some respects. It may not be so easy for Qin Feng to win benefits from them. At this time, a group of students from Tianhong Academy are recommending themselves to become Qin Feng's younger brothers. In addition to Qin Feng owning a top-grade spiritual peak, he also wanted to be marked with the immortal slave seal, so as to gain 5 times the combat power bonus, but to everyone's surprise, Qin Feng seemed to be lying flat, directly ignoring the younger brother who sent him to the door. He acted like a street stalker all day long, leading Xiao Bai to bully little girls everywhere. It can be said that all the girls in Tianhong Academy have personally experienced his telekinesis, especially Yulan will be attacked by Qin Feng if she is not careful, and she will almost have a psychological shadow. It's nothing if it's just like this, everyone just thinks that Qin Feng is a man, but it was his cultivation that made people think that Qin Feng was lying flat. In just half a month, he broke through 6 small levels in a row, and his cultivation reached the 7th level of Lingwu. Even a fool knows that such a rapid breakthrough will lead to unstable foundations.